Okay, time for something completely different. I was working on a project out behind my garage, and I lifted a board, and there was a big old garter snake under the board, so of course I had to catch it and throw it in some kind of haphazard box here, but I've decided I'm going to pull him out of this box, even though he's upset, with my bare hands, and show you that garter snakes can be very pleasant little critters, and each one has a different personality. I've caught many garter snakes over the years and kept several as pets for a while. I always let them go because they're very easy. You know, for the most part they just eat worms, and the other things that they've had I've had good success with is frogs, which aren't as easy to find, and salamanders, which also aren't that easy to find, but worms are everywhere. I just dig in the ground and there's worms. But for some reason, now that I've moved to London, you know, I dig in the dirt, and I got a bit of a project going on here, but you know what? I didn't come across any worms. It's like this lot just doesn't have worms on it, so I'm not going to keep him this time. I'm going to let him go. He's got a giant meal in him. I'm not sure. I'll try to get this. I'll set the camera down, and I'll try to show you him well, first of all, hopefully I don't, hopefully I've proved my point about how pleasant garter snakes are and not get bit. But I have had kind of grouchy ones that, yeah, they strike out and they do all kinds of nasty things, but for the most part, when you catch a garter snake, you can just put your hand on it and, you know, hold his head, and then make sure to hold the back end sort of down on the ground. You know, don't let him get all wrapped around you, because what he's going to do is he's going to shoot out this, it looks like bird poop, this white. He's going to shoot that out, and it reeks. I mean, it stinks. It's a defense mechanism is what it is. But if you can hold him down, and while he's upset, he'll shoot it on the ground, and then you don't have to worry about it. But it's not pleasant. All right, so he's very upset. He doesn't really like being in this box, so I'm gonna put the camera down here, and let's see if we can't get it lined up some way here so that you can see what's going on. So there's the box, and that big beam in the background was sitting on the ground, and when I lifted it, he was under it. That's how I ended up catching him. All right. Let's see how this goes. Hey, buddy. Whoa, he's hyper already. Oh yeah, he's not digging this at all. Hey, it's okay. It's all right, buddy. Let's go. Okay. Don't pinch the snake. Let him move. All right. He hasn't even pooped on me, so that's a good sign. And maybe he'll get calm. I didn't flip the lens over, so I can't see what you see. Hopefully you can see enough here. But look at the size of the bulge in the middle. Now overnight it's got a little bit smaller, but right there, he ate something big. Looks like a full-size frog. Alright, check it out, eh? He's pretty calm, just like that. I'm going to reach out and turn this over so I can see what you see. There we go. Not too bad. Background sucks. Let me just get out of the way. Alright. He's not real happy yet, but he's still moving. I'm kind of hoping he'll just stop anytime soon and relax. There, that's a good shot. So yeah, sometimes they're a little vicious. The little guys I find are kind of like the yappy dog, little dog syndrome, where the little ones kind of are a little more hyper. The big ones just don't seem to care too much, and I would call this guy, not the biggest, but he's pretty decent size for a garter snake around here. This is London, Ontario. A lot of people get upset when I put them in like a cardboard box or something. You know, snakes, at least around here, I'm no expert on like, well, I guess I'm no expert on snakes, but I did a lot of research. You know, when I was a kid, I caught snakes all the time. You know, I'd put pieces of plywood out in the field and then go lift the plywood. Okay, maybe he'll sit still for a minute. No, he's chosen not to. He's chosen to go a different way. And there's a lot of different kinds of snakes in Ontario. The garter snake, and it's not a garden snake, it's a garter snake. They're the most common, by far. There's another snake that looks like a garter snake called a ribbon snake. And much faster, longer, skinnier. The tail seems to go on forever into a point. They're tougher to catch, but they're around here. The other probably the most common other one I've seen around, it's a toss-up between milk snakes, which are very cool looking. They look like rattlesnakes. They got saddles down their back, got cream color with these brown blotches down their back. And was it ring? I think it's red ear slot. No, ringneck. I think it's called a ringneck snake. It's like a brown snake. That's pretty common. And I actually kept a mating pair one time, or no, it was a pregnant female I caught, and she had babies, and that little cage in the background was full of these little babies, and a couple of them got out in the house because I got a little crack here and there in that cage. I wasn't expecting, you know, the size of, well, very small worms. And there was like 50 of them. And of course I let everything go. You know, I don't keep anything for long. But you can see how calm he is now. This one has a really nice personality. I've had garter snakes that, you know, when I come into the room, they're right up near the lid. They want out to come and sit in your hand, and they know you're gonna bring a worm, and very pleasant personality. That one was named Sid that I had. It was a really good snake. But at the same time, I had one called Jake, and it was more miserable. It just give me something to eat now. I don't want to be held. Just put me down and get me a worm. This one I think would be a really good keeper, but you know, I'm going to let him go again. It's I'm not really keeping snakes anymore. Holy, whoops, getting excited. So I don't know what to tell you about garter snakes other than it's illegal to catch them. It's illegal to keep them. It's illegal to make a pet of any Ontario snake. All right. So with that in mind, let's face it, boys will be boys, and the odd girl will also like nature. And you can go to the store and you can buy yourself a python or a boa constrictor. That's all legal. But you know, you're not going to learn a little bit about Ontario wildlife if you just keep your own backyard snake for a little while. Look up what to feed them. I've even hibernated snakes. I had a fridge in the basement designated just for hibernating my 5-foot-long fox snake I caught. Had him for 2 years, and then I took him back right to the swamp that I caught him in and let him go again. But I actually hibernated him through the winter, and I thought, yeah, it's risky, and this is why there's laws that you don't keep this stuff, is because if I had to come back in the spring and open up the fridge and he was dead, well, they don't want that, you know. And I don't want that. But I did my research, and I didn't have YouTube at the time, but I was at the library. I spent a lot of time at the library researching Ontario snakes and what it takes to keep them alive. And it worked perfectly. It brought him out of hibernation, and, you know, after a little bit of time, he was right back to eating. And that one, you know, that one was a little higher maintenance. I had to get mice for him, and you know, it just gets to be a bit of a nuisance. So I let him go, and then basically just kept garter snakes after that because they're easy. You know, just take your shovel into the garden, get a couple worms fed. They need water. They do drink, so you got to have a cup of water in there, and shelter. My cage always had like a little box with a hole in it that they can go in, and keep it clean. So the box I made had hinges on the bottom that the floor would drop out, and you just slide a piece of newspaper in and then hinge it back up again. Worked nicely. Never even had to take the snake out. They're always up on the, you know, up on the box that I had, or the branch that I had in there or something. So keep it clean, keep water in there, feed them every day, and they make really cool little pets. I was going to start building these snake cages. I was going to, you know, I got CAD drawings made up of all the components, and I was going to start marketing them. But my struggle was going to be, how do I market ownership of a creature that's illegal to house, to keep in your house? Maybe it's not possible. Anyway, I got into other stuff, and my prototype cage behind me there, it still exists, but it's pretty much busted up. It's almost 30 years old, and this is the first snake I've caught in a long time. We used to go out, we called it snake hunting, but we weren't really hunting them, we were catching them. And you know, with my kids, since they were like 2 or 3 or 4 years old, and we would lift a big piece of plywood, and the kids would go right in there and just reach right down and catch them. I go, whoa, you don't know which ones are nasty. You might, but you know, kids were fearless back then. And well, I'm gonna let them go, folks. What I'm gonna do is drop them over the edge, this little retaining wall, and with any luck, he won't come back. He's free to roam. Wondering what's going on. Why am I free? I can't even find him now. I know he's in there. Okay, there's a rock. There he is. Come on, camera, you can focus. There he is. So I live in a pretty, not really rural, but a forested area. Oh, there he is there. There's that big bulge of his previous dinner. Oh, he's heading off. Zoom out and start over. Okay, where's that rock in my screen here? There's the rock. So then, oh, he's completely gone now. They're so hard to see. They're so well camouflaged. But he is gone. Well, how'd that happen? I can't see him anywhere. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to work. Let them go and they're gone. Okay. That's it. Back to work.